Hey there, my greetings to all Potterheads. Christmas is coming, and I feel like many of you have already watched something from Potterverse. Me too, by the way. Harry Potter language is not only tricky in terms of translation to other languages, but it's quite challenging in English as well.
Pleasure.
Did you know that the US publishers thought that the philosopher word is not so obvious for American, and they decided to change the original name of the book and the film from philosopher to sorcerer? In the UK version, Hagrid's ride is referred to as a motorbike, while in the US edition, it is called a motorcycle. One more curious fact that two words from Potterverse were added to Oxford English Dictionary in 2002 and 2017 respectively. So today we're going to talk about the linguistics of Harry Potter.
Let the feast begin.
And we'll start from these two words that are currently an official part of the English language. It is insane how rapidly invented words can be embedded into the language. The word muggle, created by J.K. Rowling, was added to Oxford English Dictionary in 2002. That is only 5 years since the first book had been published and only a year after the release of the first film. So currently muggle is defined as a person who lacks a particular skill or skills or is inferior in some way. In 2017, the word Quidditch was also added to the Oxford English Dictionary. However, Quidditch is officially known as a sports game that was created in 2005 at Middlebury, Vermont College in the United States and was inspired by the fictional game from Harry Potter books. Going from outside linguistics impacts to more inside features, let's talk about the origins of Harry Potter characters' names. The first and foremost is Harry, of course.
I can't be a wizard. I mean, I'm just Harry. Just Harry.
Harry's name itself derived in part from a childhood friend of J.K. Rowling, Ian Potter, and in part of your favorite name, Harry. But there is a theory that Harry's name is the Middle English form of the name Henry, which is favored by many English kings. Harry is represented as a brave and lucky boy, but I'm personally more inclined to the first version. And what do you think about it? Please let me know in the comments below and I will be glad to read your ideas. Hermione Granger.
Holy cricket! You're Harry Potter! I'm Hermione Granger.
In Greek mythology, Hermione was the daughter of the king Menelaus of Sparta and his wife Helene of Troy. Meanwhile, Granger, according to the Middle English definition, was amusingly an occupational term for bailiff, which, considering how much Hermione Granger has to tell of Ron and Harry, is rather fitting.
You two better change into your robes. I expect we'll be arriving soon.
Albus Dumbledore. Dumbledore is an archaic word for bumblebee, which is rather cute. As for his name, Albus, it appropriately means white, as the professor's famous beard. Rubeus Hagrid. There is a theory that Hagrid is derived from the Norwegian word Hagridden, which means worried. Hagrid was very worried about the Harry Potter's fate and life, so it's so exciting how skillfully Joanne attributes the names to the characters' traits.
There's no Hogwarts without you, Hagrid.
Draco Malfoy.
and I'm Malfoy. Draco Malfoy.
It's no surprise that the Draco's first name is Latin for a terrifying beast, specifically a dragon. Malfoy stands for mal, which originally derived from Old French and means bad or evil, and foi, which means faith or trust. Remus Lupin.
First, I'm pleased to welcome Professor R.J. Lupin, who's kindly consented to fill the post of Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher. Good luck, Professor.
Lupin derived from Latin, and can you guess what it means? A wolf, of course. So, as it may seem, the Remus Lupin's fate was always locked within his wolf name. As for the creature's name, it's even more interesting here. Some of the creatures mentioned in the series, from unicorns to werewolves, were not invented by J.K. Rowling. But they give her credit for creating creatures that have been discussed for hundreds of years. Basilisk. One such creature is Basilisk from the Chamber of Secrets. The basilisk, also called a cockatrice in medieval mythology, goes back to medieval Greece and Rome, and it was supposedly a serpent that hatched from a chicken's egg, whose hissing drives away all other serpents, and whose look and breath were fatal. In the Border Wars, those who see the basilisk indirectly, for example reflected in a mirror or in a puddle, they are not killed outright, they are merely turned to a stone. Hippogriff.
Isn't he beautiful? Say hello to Buckbeak.
As Rowling explains, a hippogriff is a creature that is part horse and part griff. And griffin is itself as part lion, part eagle. And the first mention about a hippogriff is from the ancient Greek mythology. In spite of this, the word hippogriff didn't show up in English until 1600s, when the hippogriff was featured in a very well-known Italian epic poem, Orlando Furiosa. The word is a blend of the Greek hippo, which is related to the Greek hippos or horse, and griffer, which is from Latin griffers and means the griffin itself. Nagini. The large snake that accompanies Voldemort, Nagini, shares its name with the semi-divine serpentine creatures that are sometimes worshipped in Buddhist and Hindu mythology. The name Nagini is the feminine form of the Sanskrit word naga. I hope I pronounced it correctly, which means snake. This Sanskrit word was borrowed into English in the late 1700s and showed up in the translations of Hindu and Buddhist texts. Mandrake. Mandrake is short for mandragora, and it came to English from Greek in the 14th century to describe a root that supposedly had magical properties. These are, of course, not all the curious explanations for the characters' names and creatures. I'll leave the link in the description with the full version of it that I was able to find, but currently we're going to the Harry Potter spells. As you might have guessed, they also have their meaning and reasonable explanation. The first one is Expecto Patronum, that roughly translated as I expect the guardian.
Expecto Patronum!
In ancient Rome, the word patronus meant protector, but it had slightly different connotation. A patronus in ancient Rome was someone who had a patronage relationship with someone less rich, less famous, and in turn the word patronage most likely came from the word pater in Latin, which means father. So to sum up, the word patronus always means the protection of someone. Expelliarmus. It goes back to the Middle English and consists of 3 parts. The first one is ex, which means exit, out. The second one is pellere, turned into drive in modern English. And armus stands for the part of the body, arm. And in time, the term arm took on the combat meaning, arm yourself with a wound. So, piecing the syllables back together, we have a very rough translation of the phrase drive out weapon, which is precisely what Expelliarmus does.
Expelliarmus!
And the last spell for today is ironically the most unforgivable and killing curse, Avada Kedavra. As Joanne stated in her interview, it was an ancient spell of Aramaic, and it was original of abracadabra, which means let the thing be destroyed. She mentions that originally it was used to cure the illness, and this illness was the thing itself. But Joanne Rowling decided to make this thing as a person standing in front of a character who is applying this killing curse.
Harry Potter. The boy who lived. Come to die. Avada Kedavra!
Okay, that's all for today, but of course not everything for the Harry Potter linguistics because it has a lot of things to research. Please let me know if you like this video and it brought you to a new level of understanding Harry Potter's names and spells. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.